beginning, I remember that one of the things that would come at the top of the list when it comes to supporting entrepreneurs is the fact that there's a challenge with access to capital. We chose to challenge that narrative a little bit because we felt that while access to capital was a big need, there was a problem with how entrepreneurs fundamentally structured their businesses. A lot of them did not have strategies, did not have systems, did not have processes, and therefore, even if they went to try and access capital, they didn't have all the documentation or the things necessary. And that's basically where Sandbox started from, where we started out a program for entrepreneurs where we would give them access to different types of experts, and then at the end of the day they would be able to build up their businesses, structure them and de-risk them, and then they would be better run businesses. However, despite doing that, we still had a missing piece to the puzzle, and that was the capital bit, which is something that we now have a solution for. But before we go to that, Mary, what has been your experience as an SME in Kenya trying to access capital? I don't know whether you've had good or bad experiences.
Jerome, when I hear the word capital, I shudder, literally, because I remember all the harrowing experiences I've had running my business, trying to go to the bank and ask for money, and even friends and family. I mean, I even thought of ways to give back after my clients had paid money to my family and friends, because I just needed the overhead to pay every month. And one such example is we had a client who, according to their procurement rules, could only pay us after 60 days upon receipt of invoice. And it's an international multi-conglomerate firm, so it was very difficult for them to change that. Now, I did not have any runway to help me cover 60 days at all. And what ended up happening is that they would keep saying that the invoice is lost in the system. So it wasn't even an honest 60 days. And I went to my bank and I told them, here's my contract. I have this contract with this big firm. I'll mention the name, it's GSK. And I have this big contract with GSK, but I'm not able to pay my staff. Could you advance me even for 1 month so that at least I only have a 30-day gap? And the bank told me, so what you need to do is, I think we were asking for, maybe 250K. They told me what you need to do is come to us with 1 million shillings so that we can give you the 250K. And I was like, if I had 1 million shillings, I would definitely not need the 250K. And this is just one example. So many times I'd go to the bank and tell them, this is what I need. And it doesn't matter how long I'd banked with them, they just completely never see my side of the story. So it's very haunting.
So on the one end, doing business, I mean, here you have business, you have a credible big name. Who's going to pay you? But still, when you look at the capital side, they're not structured. First, it's not even patient. They're giving you 1 month, and then they're asking you to give them money so that they can give you money. Like they're asking you to give them more money than what you're asking them. In fact, I've always wondered what goes through the mind of that, credit manager when they're telling you that. Like, how does that even make sense? So in between that, because I remember I've been in a similar situation. And we couldn't get it from the bank, so we had to go to a loan shark and get money at 20% per month, just so that you're able to deliver that. So it's either the loan shark or you go sell your kidney. I don't know. Have you needed to sell your kidney as an SME?
It's interesting, and that perception is that for me, capital has always been. I'm an entrepreneur who's dreamed. So I've thought, and I used to watch a lot of Shark Tank. So straight out of finishing my campus education, I watched a few Shark Tanks, have a model. I started something, maybe gave it some runway, it started making some money. So I knew where do I now go when I want to do this Shark Tank thing? I need some money to buy some equipment because this equipment will never make. Let me tell you.
The real thing.
I took it. This is there. I'm looking for a loan like this. I'm looking for patient capital because this 6 months, maybe lean time. Because this equipment will need to be imported. These guys just looked and said, wow, this is great, this is a lot of money, and then they just say no.
Did they give you the classic?
They just said no. They just, and there's no reason, there's just equipment, it's an asset actually, but it's just because it's not an asset they can understand. It's not a car, it's not a house, it's cameras that help me equip, and then I don't know if this guy was not visionary or
Was it a bank or?
Yeah, it was a bank. Then I tried a few other places, friends, family. But I did some access, from friends, family, just a small loan and continued like that. Bought your first camera. It didn't get you to where you needed to be. And then it was hectic because with those small things come other expenses that you can. If you bought half of the thing, you still need the other half of the thing to deliver.
Yeah.
So you'd have this half thing, but you have to rent, you have to. So even the money you're getting back that you want to pay something back, it's like, it's a bit difficult, and pretty much my experience has not been easy. Even now running a business, even when you want, say, an overdraft, it's like you have to jump hoops.
Yeah.
You have to jump hoops for the smallest of even discussions. Recently. I'm actually moving banks. Recently, I'm not even looking for capital. I'm looking for a supplier. Supplier asked for a letter in confidence that we bank with them, and we have good standing with the bank. My friend, it took 2 weeks. It's still never been processed. I just gave up and I moved back. Actually, no, I just asked another bank. We bank still a bank. At least I had to go there with RM. But in the end, just to get a letter that says we bank with you and we're in good credit, so that supplier can then pay. This is crazy. Imagine if you needed money.
I've actually had how people get money nowadays as SMEs is you just have credit limits from insurers or all the Tala, you take Tala.
First you maximize Fuliza, then you maximize Tala, then you take insurance to pay Tala so that you maintain a good credit record, and then you have to mentally keep those days so that you make sure you don't
which is ridiculous. Because there should be a bank that sees our potential and hopes that we can plug into that.
So like the local capital environment just is not structured to support businesses. And there are just so many things that I don't understand. I hear people abroad get 1 or 2%.
Right.
Here the minimum you'll get is 14, but on average 22 or something. Then you have to give collateral. There are just so many hoops that I always wonder, like, how do businesses grow in this country?
And
we still grow.
And it's never an equal, we're on the table, both of us. Like, you bring your business, I'm bringing my money. It's always, now you have to go talk to the, how equity grew. You have to go talk to the relationship manager who then signs for you something and makes it look like it's a favor. And you feel like you're indebted forever.
Once a year you have to bribe the credit manager for them to approve. It's crazy. But anyway, so that being our capital, landscape, recently, I came across a gentleman who had been watching what Sandbox has been doing and basically felt that everything we did, helps to de-risk the companies that we were assisting, and therefore we could plug in the missing piece of the puzzle. So, Mr. O'Hara is here to tell us more about how that missing piece of the puzzle fits in. Could you tell us more about Sandbox Capital and what you hope we will achieve with this?
Very interesting. I think my journey started in government. It's been in government for a long time, both overseas and locally. And at some point I realized that you can do other policy you like at the top, but it doesn't seem to change situation on the ground. And so what beautiful ground is different. And so when I watched Joran, your first year anniversary, remember I texted you on LinkedIn and said, I've been watching you for a year, nice thing, and being an entrepreneur you are, you immediately call me to me, let's meet.
Yes.
And essentially after listening to the full story of Sandbox, I decided, another thing I said to you, the only thing missing here is capital. Why can't you have capital inside that ecosystem so that entrepreneurs come and we actually de-risk them? And how do we de-risk them? We put them through the phases where we give them the critical skills they need. They have an opportunity to learn in real time as they're actually running their businesses. And get to a place where all the skill sets that are necessary to run a business as a corporate are developed first. So by the time you come for capital, even as a financier, I'm confident that you're actually running a business. You're not really a one-man show, but a full business. But not only that, if I've been dealing with you guys for a year, and I've watched you grow, I've watched you develop, the sense of ownership is different. The fact that I know you, by the time Alex here says, I need a loan, it will be easy enough for me to ask the community, is Alex a bankable guy or into a machine shit? So they can tell me, no, he's okay because we've seen him, both as a person, but also we've also seen his business grow. And so Sandbox Capital was basically developed to do several things. One is to give, to be what I call the first, really I think Equity Bank became that before it was sold off to others, to become a business SME friendly financier. One who's not, we have to make money, so basically there are three of our qualities that we are preaching capital, but we're practical. So we'll ask hard questions. But don't ask hard questions so that you can go away. We're asking hard questions to be sure that you are a complete entity. You've got all the necessary skills you need. Also, there are seven capacities that you must have. And if you don't have, in a conversation with us, we'll tell you, okay, your financial management has a problem. But go talk to so-and-so, and they can plug that gap. Then you can come back and say, okay, and I look at you, you've got all the critical skills. Clearly, you've got scale, you're about to scale up. Ideally, you probably come and say, I've got an order from, GSP or someone else. And the only thing missing here is, I need a financial partner. In fact, I will stop saying so much capital, but as a financial partner to help me at least get to the next scale. And what we do is that we say, okay, you come in, we can walk you through the de-risking if you haven't already filled all your gaps. And then you got what to call investor readiness, which is basically a space where we say, quite apart from having a complete business, what are the dynamics of actually having a loan, being a financial, attracting investors, being, as you say, critically prepared to become a financial asset in your own right to us. Because when you're lending money, you become an asset to us because you're part of our system. And so at the point at which you make your investor ready, one of the conditions we would say is, okay, we're going to give you the money, but part of the condition of giving you the money is you must remain within the same ecosystem that has completed all your skills. And that's now my measure of risk management, among other things. The other thing Sandbox Capital will do is we'll seek to source funding, both locally and internationally, preferably at concessional rates, for on-lending to small business. Now that becomes really quite a game changer. I know it's a tired word, but I'll use it. For the simple reason that if we're able, because we're going to be international, we're not just in Kenya, because you know that and there's no reason why you can't do what in finance you call arbitraging. If there's a place you can secure funding at a lower interest rate, as long as you hedge it, why can't I then on-lend it at a more concessional rate than even our local banks will do? Because my interest, and I think you've said this, Jeremy and I, is we want our businesses, SMEs, African businesses, to explode. And there's no reason why Africa is lagging behind.
Am I hearing you, Mr. Aurora, correctly when you say that you kind of want to create almost what the Jews have, that community where you can't fail if you're a Jew, literally, because you have that ecosystem that allows you to be able to have access to financing and money, and as long as you have an idea, you're told how much do you need? Let me write for your check. You always think of a big brother.
I am very curious to went that through. I won't go to the detail of what you're saying. Suffice it to say that to do that, and what you actually not only the Jewish people do that, as Somalis do that.
Yes.
A few communities, the Asian community does that.
Yes.
And the fundamental rule that makes it work is this what we call governance. What I call it integrity. In other words, you keep your promises. And it's the ones, in fact, SNDBX Capital is a one strike you out system. We cannot allow you to break faith with them once. Because it's critical that when you say you're ready to grow, you know that you don't have to look over your shoulder because of what will tomorrow pull the rug, or Joram will come and start to say, oh, you know, Alex is doing. Basically, the system must be an honest system, over and above the fact that you have to, of course, comply with all the rules and regulations and the law. But to your point, yes, it's a community. It's creating a community, and there's no reason why Kenya cannot be like the Jews, the Somalis, the Indians, as far as the African businessman is. One of the things I think we mentioned at the beginning is one of the critical problems is not even a problem. It's we almost went into a, I don't know how to put this nicely. It's almost like a donkey going into a horse race. Okay, in that the African businessman has been told compete, but will not give you finance. Compete, but will not support you. The government know that it's not the banking sector, and the whole banking sector in Kenya, in fact most of Africa, was not established for the African businessman. And it's known. I won't be controversial, it's just true. So you can take it to the bank, literally. The SNDBX Capital is about you as an African entrepreneur giving you every reason to succeed. Our only trade-off here is talk straight, tell us the truth. At any point, and as it's a one strike out, your out system, so that you're not looking to, I should never have to worry, you're not telling me the whole truth. You know, most businessmen have two books out there. True. There's one thing I need to know. What is the situation? What do you need? How can we help? Except, sorry.
So I think what I'm hearing you say is that it's like this is an ideal vehicle that is actually tailored for the financing needs of SMEs, but how the SMEs need to experience it. But you'll be taking advantage of tools, processes, systems that are there within the sandbox to make sure that the person is de-risked, so that by the time they're coming for the financing, they are ready for it, and when it's given to them, they can be able to grow. It just sounds like an ideal vehicle for that. But are you only looking at doing this in Nairobi, or because I know we've had conversations about going countrywide? There's a lot of counties that are looking where we are setting up sandboxes and that run programs for youth, for women, for entrepreneurs. How are you looking at the structure of that?
Like I've said, where SNDBX International goes, so goes SNDBX Capital. So it's actually one integrated team that works first, and by just let me explain the risk. De-risking is this: remove the reasons for which business fail or are not acceptable risks to financiers. Why do you fail? You don't know about the systems, you don't thought your strategy properly, and that's completely SNDBX International space. So if you take an SME that was, in fact, you may not even be an SME within a sandbox, but you want to be funded. Our SNDBX Capital comes to the enterprise development program, in 6 months to a year, we'll train you, make your skill, your business is completely filled out or complete in terms of what the skill set that you need. Then at the tail end of that, we'll take you through the investor readiness program for about a month or two. And at the point to give you your loan, you and I become friends. It's not just about the money. It's about more. It's about the relationship that you talk about.
Is it the Shark Tank?
Well, actually, it's a very good point. SNDBX Capital I want you to think of SNDBX Capital as Shark Tank. After you've gone through
So you go to the prep, you understand what your business is capable of doing. Then you write me a check.
Here's where our vision needs to be very clear. We're not in the business of saying no.
Okay.
We're in the business of saying, these are where your weaknesses are. Fix them and come talk to us. It's a very different model from the other world works out there. And that says no fight, because their idea is to protect their huge margins. If I have volumes, and I say, and as much as possible, want to grow our business around volumes rather than margins. But of course, initially, it will be a bit of both. But if you're going to your question, are we just in Kenya? No, we're going wherever Sandbox International is going. Across the world, there will be also. And I need to just make this note that we also have virtual sandboxes. We are also in a business model. We also have a virtual sandbox capital. And that means virtual lending, our notion of virtual banks. Tara, you talked about, you guys talked about
maximizing all the mobile lending.
That's definitely one of our tools. We have agency banking. We won't be a full bank, among other things. But the idea is just that whole notion of all the skill sets and all the necessary needs of the SME. Get a sympathetic hearing, but also taken through surgery. What do you call that? Boot camp. Take them through boot camp to make sure that they're fit for purpose and ready to go.
So I'm hearing you say that Alex was giving us a story where he was just outrightly told no. He was not even told why. He was not told that, go fix this, that, or the other. It was just a no. Does it sound like something that you would then buy into? Does it sound like the kind of thing that's structured for what you do?
Right now, to be honest, being self-critical, at that point I was told no, I did deserve my no, but I did deserve to be told, instead of running around trying to find this money, go and fix A, B, C, D, and where do I fix this? And right now, actually, I would say maybe in the last year or last year and a half is when we've actually come to know these were the pain points, and these are the things we needed to deal with so that it could be. And you see, even sometimes before you even access that capital, by solving those things, you end up not needing capital. You end up just solving your own, and the system just working. And then by the time you come to, which is his first, I'm at the door, like, I've solved everything, I need you now. It means that everything is going to be fluid. It's not only on a dream, it's also Shark Tank does the same thing. It's not that they come there and then just stand and then they're told to give you money. It's even in their filtration process that before you present there, probably the guys who looked at your stuff. And probably now in Sandbox, I think with Sandbox Capital, I love the idea that they will give you the access to these guys who tell you, man, just fix this, or you're 10% away, you're 30% away. It's like at least get an assessment and be told what to do instead of running around. For me, when I looked for capital, that was about 3 years ago. I've just figured it out last year. Why I did this? 2 years doing nothing.
I have two questions.
10 years.
I have a question for Alex and for Ahoro. Really interesting. So Alex, if you were to be honest and tell us like what things you're fixing, I'm imagining like for example for me, maybe I needed to fix compliance, for example. Have you seen somebody at the Sandbox who helped you to fix those issues? Maybe can give us a little bit of insight.
We'll be here the whole night. I can tell you truly, I've actually, as a business, I'm the digital expert at the Sandbox, but beyond that expertise of digital, I don't know much else. I've never run a business. I'm not a businessman. I am a businessman now. But seeing that I was a creative who just wanted to do the creative stuff and have a business that would help SMEs doesn't mean that I knew how to run a business myself. I could work. I actually have worked so many months for people for free and then realized, man, are these people ever going to pay us? And you know you owe us money? And the question is that why have they piled up? We won't pay you now because it's become such a huge. So there's so many things that we've worked on over the past 1.5 years, and through to the Sandbox, the people who we've met here, the finance team who are experts who give you structure. We've worked with operations because as well as you scale, Alex can do 10 things at the same time. Well, there's great team members who can, and they can take up this so that you can be able to continue being scalable. So operations, finance, debt collection, even the legalities. Even right now, we fixed everything, but I know I'm confident if I go to Roland and say I'm 90% there. Maybe what I don't have is HR policies. I think I'm working on right before we hire this, or we're giving guys contracts, or there's small things that we're still doing because we are able to access the experts. That to me is the truest value, because his money will just come to be on the flame, fire on the flame. It's like you are going, go then.
And then my question to Ahoro is, if you give me money, is it like a transaction where there's a percentage that you take? I think we were talking about in Nordic big countries, they have 1% they charge 1% interest to give to SMEs.
Yes.
What kind of margin are you thinking?
I wish I could say 1%. I'd love to say 1%, but we live in an energy called Kenya, where even though official inflation rate is about 7, common knowledge that tells it's around about 14, around about the 13% mark. So no, to that question, but we will be looking to leverage cheaper access to pass on as much of that benefit as possible. My suspicion is that if we start doing that, we'll probably collapse the internet. So we have to be careful how we do that. But to your question, yes, it will be basically based on margin. So it's an interest rate plus a margin, depending on who the source of funding is. That will be then, because we're talking patient capital, we're thinking innovative ways of funding. We talked about, for example, supply chain financing. That would be a big part. For most SMEs, we just need to be able to source the materials, you have all the expertise on hand to process and to supply your client. But then also supply chain financing also means that we have your LPO, we know that it's actually a transaction. What you will not get at Sandbox Capital is a situation where we are saying no to you before you come through the door and here to hear you sorry. A second thing that you will not get us saying no if you don't tell it specific what it is that you need to fix. And thirdly, because you're coming through the pipeline of Sandbox International, we do actually expect you won't need to be told that. Because by the time you come to that point, you're actually ready. And it's only really tweaking what's left for that. I'm in the business of saying yes. I can't emphasize this more. Sandbox Capital should be in the business of saying yes. Because the more millionaires we make among us, the fewer beggars we have among us. So to me, that should be. It doesn't mean it will be easy on you. So you're going to be practical. You're going to find out. Some of us from Treasury have a second side to us. But we'll be practical. So we have to ask all the hard questions. But you're not in the business of saying no, just to be difficult.
And I do know that, we may not be able to disclose. I know that you're talking to people who are very excited, financiers of partnering with Sandbox Capital. We've talked about how Sandbox is a solution for the entrepreneur, but how can it be a solution for the development finance institutions? Because there have been many programs where they partner with banks and even give guarantees, and you see banks making announcements saying we have billions for SMEs, but when the SMEs go for that money, they hear the same stories that we had here. How would Sandbox Capital be a solution for those finances?
I'm very glad you asked that question. In fact, that's one of our key, for lack of a better word, long-hanging fruit. Is that one of our key strategies is around the product that we call project fund management. Project fund management is about precisely that, becoming a project manager for the donor community and even governments where they may have an SME program that they want to run, or they're thinking of developing one. If they think of developing one, then that would be a partnership, of course, with Sandbox International to both do the development of the SME program and then the financing of it. The other reason is that we will do that because we want to become a partner with these organizations, including even commercial organizations, where basically we do what you call the fund management for a fee, and you look after the myriad administrative
challenges they don't have the
which
capacity.
they have no capacity of doing that. For example, a lot of financiers, donor financiers, have a minimum ticket size. What I spoke to just last week said 5 million euros or more. But I said, okay, I do not have, but if I come tomorrow with 2,000 SMEs, all ready to take your 5 million. But you're only dealing with Sandbox Capital. Are you willing to look at it? Maybe. So it will also be a consolidator like that for SMEs, but also to become the gap filler. Standing in the gap. Standing in the gap between the SMEs and the financiers. To the last point about local banks. We don't see ourselves as in competition with them. For the simple fact that they do not service this market at all. I'm not competing with someone who's actually
Not in that.
SMEs are happy with, you know,
Yeah.
so that in a sense they can say I'm threatening their business.
Yeah.
If anything, I think you're probably going to create a whole new market for traditional banks. If only because some of them will then want to move down the value chain, start servicing SMEs. But also, a very good example is a small conversation I had yesterday with someone in the SACCO space. And they said, you know, Sandbox in the SACCO space could absolutely explode. For the simple reason of exactly that. SACCOs have members' funds, but they don't know what to do with it. And there's a limitations by law where you can put your investments in. And so one of the conversations we're having in SACCOs is, look at SME financing, but don't look at it as you giving the money to SMEs. Work with Sandbox Capital, or Sandbox Capital becomes your investment. You're investing in Sandbox Capital, but you know that those funds are going to help 200,000. The last count, they said there's 6 million SMEs. How many of us are being serviced by the banks? Less than 200, 300,000.
I have a process question. So hardware, I think I'm really excited about everything that he's talking about. So if Alex and I want to apply for Sandbox Capital tomorrow, what's the process? What do I do?
I think I'm asked that question about every time, but I have a situation where that pent-up demand is
it's a lot more.
But it's like a pent-up mountain, a big tank, but the spigot is very small. So you're working on expanding that. To your question directly, no, I can't fund you tomorrow. But with the way we are going, we expect within the next, this is maybe by September, we will at least to come up to the speak of funding. But more important than between now and then is setting up the systems, the registrations, for perfecting the business model also. There's some maturation happening with Sandbox Capital. But fundamentally is also speaking to financiers. And the more we've spoken to, the more excited they'll be. But I know sometimes they're excited by the idea. But I've felt quite happy that I've actually excited this cynical people with the idea itself. But I think it's a notion that Sandbox Capital will be the interface between SMEs. When SMEs are too small to scale, to have a feature the radar of the financiers. But also on the side of financiers, there's a fair bit of fatigue using the traditional channels for the simple reason of between bureaucracy and losses associated with government that they are more than open up to these new ideas. At the end of the day, you only need one or two to start, and we are well on our way with one of them. So,
and I know that Sandbox Capital is basically exciting everyone because it's starting off on the right footing. I know you have very robust governance in terms of, very respected people sitting on the board of Sandbox Capital, very robust processes in terms of that de-risking enterprise development. So I talk to you all the time and I hear governors who are excited about this and would want to adopt this for their counties and the like. So it's very exciting. It's exciting everyone here. So I don't know. Unfortunately, we have to bring this conversation to a close because we could talk about it over and over and we'll come back and talk more about it. But I don't know, maybe we can all give a parting shot about how we hope people can engage with Sandbox Capital going forward. I don't know what you think, Mary, about what you're hearing.
I'm completely excited, and I think what I'm hearing is that there is an opportunity for my business to be audited and to hear whether I'm actually at the stage where I can receive financing, and maybe that's through the enterprise development program, such that I can actually apply for my company to be reviewed. And I can even be told that those things I think I'm hearing as if they can run concurrently, such that when even the money is coming and my application is in the system, and if I have issues to fix, I can already start talking to some of the experts in the sandbox if it's a compliance issue, if it's a HR issue, or even a debt collection issue. Those things can actually be in the process of being sorted out, such that when the money he comes in, it's fire on fire, as I said.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that was my take-home point just from this conversation.
Thank you.
Alex, thanks for having me on this panel. I think for me is to speak to the entrepreneur who was like me, somebody who has a vision. If you feel like your business is going, but you feel a bit stuck, don't fight, don't play in the mud for so long. Just come and see. It's an open place. I think the team here is very open to conversations and to see how they can optimize your business. If you're also running on fumes, you know, because you're doing so much, there's always expertise at the Sandbox that will leapfrog you. You don't need to go through 2 years trying to understand a PR or Facebook or you don't need to do that. There is somebody who in 3 months they change about how your business operates. And true, I think it's the time we have the conversation that value is derived from expertise. And I think the Sandbox Capital will bring in something invaluable as well.
I know for Sandbox Capital, I'm a businessman. That's business. They have to make money. But you're going to make money ethically. I've had the opportunity to access a lot of money in government, which I choose a very different path. But I'm excited about this because there's something called social impact. The quickest way to lift any nation from poverty is here. No government can ever tax itself into prosperity. It's really the small business level. I don't even want to call it small business people. That's a talking about small business. It's really helping the business community to grow. If it grows, it takes care of just about everything else. I know there's a big debate right now about our country's situation and with Corona and the issues around economic, basically collapse, for lack of a better word. I cannot think of a more opportune time in the history of this country. But the SME is absolutely the rescue of a nation.
Of the economy.
And I think if there's anything, that is what excites me most about Sandbox Capital. That we in a partnership, we become the rescue. We're going to become a solution, not a problem. And I think as you see from our slogan, we are about opportunity
without limits. I would not have put it any better. I mean, it's opportunity without limits. While, you know, remember at the beginning of our conversation, it was talking about how difficult the business environment is, such that it ends up being lots of opportunity, but, you know, it's so many limits, and in Kiswahili vikwazo, you know, towards, you know, tackling that opportunity. But Sandbox Capital sounds like a good solution, both for the entrepreneur who would be able to access not just a capital, but meaningful help towards de-risking their business, towards growing their business and having someone handhold them. But also, you know, we've had the conversation around how countries having to deal with negative interest rates. So this could also be an opportunity for them, you know, to take advantage of this vehicle, you know, to build the economy here. And, you know, therefore we are all very excited and really looking forward to, you know, launching and running the Sandbox Capital. As the CEO of Sandbox, I'm quite excited to have what we've considered the missing piece, and now we finally have it and feel like now we have a complete solution. And so we are looking forward to an even stronger partnership with the businesses that have come, the hundreds of businesses that have come through the Sandbox. We are looking forward to offer you so much more. So if you're an entrepreneur, you know, if you're a DFI out there or financier, you're welcome to talk to us and see how we can partner together to grow this economy through the SMEs. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Is that up?